हरे कृष्णा माता जी, सादर प्रणाम माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam for all. So, we are starting a new series speaking about Varnasrama Dharma, a compilation of the quotes of Srila Prabhupada on Varnasrama Dharma. So, let's just begin with that. I will show you the book, and I think you must be having this book. If you don't have, I can just share it with you. I shared it in the group, so you have it with you. And also I'll be sharing it on screen. Srila Prabhupada on Varnashram and Farm Community Development, Volume 1, speaking about Varnashrama. So we will directly hear from Srila Prabhupada. I don't have to give any commentary or anything. We will just read and then we can discuss afterwards. Okay? And if you are able to take turns reading, if you would like to, just raise your hand, electronic hand, so that I can call on you. But if you are comfortable rather not reading and just listening, don't raise your hand, then I'll just keep reading so that I don't make you feel uncomfortable if you don't want to read. But if you would like to read, just raise your hand and I'll call on you. Srila Prabhupada on Varnashram and Farm Community Development. Compiled by Hare Krishna Devi Dasi, Srila Prabhupada disciple, edited by Sureshwara Das. Yes, so whoever is interested in the subject matter of this book may correspond with the Bhaktivedanta archives in North Carolina. So you have a phone number and email. Okay. Naham vipro nacha narapatir napi vaishyo na shudro naham varni nacha grihapatir no vanasto yatirva किंतु प्रोद्यन निखिल परमानंद पूर्णामृताब्धेर Gopi Bhartuh Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanudasaha. I am not a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. I am not a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. What am I? I am the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Krishna. Who's saying this? Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This book is dedicated to our masters, all the devotees working together to carry out Srila Prabhupada's Varnashram mission. So I'm just reading everything so that you know what is the context. Okay, I'll just read. Preface. In December 1992, ISKCON's governing body commission established Correspondence Resolution number 9, creating a farm research committee to research Srila Prabhupada's instructions on farming and rural community development. The committee realized that to research instructions on community development meant to research Prabhupada's instructions on social development. To research instructions on social development meant, in turn, to research Prabhupada's instructions on Varnasrama Dharma. Thus, the current work was assembled. So, what was their original interest? To interest was community development. Okay, so they wanted Srila Prabhupada's instructions on rural community development, farm communities, how to do that. So, but in order to find that, they realized that they should read Prabhupada's instructions on Varnashram Dharma. The committee's goal in creating this work has been to provide a systematically organized reference and resource for devotees in the Hare Krishna movement, from temple presidents and rural project leaders to farmers, rural community members, and Gurukula and upper level teachers and their students, and especially to provide guidance for the leaders of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, as they seek to carry out the instructions of ISKCON's founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, on his mission of helping create a society dedicated to the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. So, what is the goal of the community? To provide a resource where they can find instructions of Srila Prabhupada on community development, to give a resource to who are the people who need this. All the leaders in various departments, whether they are temple presidents or rural project leaders or Gurukula teachers, not just leaders, also the followers, students, everyone needs a resource. In addition, we want to provide an authoritative source for scholars who in the near future are sure to become increasingly interested in Srila Prabhupada's teachings on how to organize a peaceful, productive, God-centered society. So, not only to the devotees, but also to the scholars who may be interested in developing a productive, God-centered society. Such researchers should know that the Krishna consciousness movement is founded on the scriptural principle propagated in the recent age by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, that the Lord in his full potency is present in his names such as Allah, Jehovah, Govinda, and many other transcendental names, of which the names Krishna and Rama are prominent. The potency of the name of God is recognized in all religions around the world. According to India's ancient Vedic scriptures, such as the Agni Purana and Brhan Naradiya Purana, the most potent means of deliverance from illusion and material misery in the current age is to chant the names of God. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is specifically mentioned in many places, such as the Kali Santarana Upanishad, for example, which states, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam Natah Parataropayah Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. After searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than the chanting of Hare Krishna. So, what is said in this paragraph? So, when you are providing such information to the scholars about community development, what is the foundation, what the principle on which the communities are being built? The foundation is the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, of course, but where are his teachings coming from? His teachings are based on the scriptures and the injunctions of the most recent avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Hmm? And who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who may be known by different names in different parts of the world, but God is one. And what is the way to approach that Supreme Lord in Kali Yuga? Again, every statement that is said, it is based on a quote from scripture. So Agni Purana and Brhan Naradiya Purana, they are saying that the most potent means of deliverance from illusion in Kali Yuga is what? Chanting the holy names of the Lord. So Agni Purana and Brhan Naradiya Purana are the oldest Puranas, or they're one of the ancient Vedic scriptures, Puranas. So in that we find that chanting the names of the Lord is the way of deliverance in Kali Yuga. Even though this method, and there also specifically this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also mentioned in Kali Santarana Upanishad. There's no method which is more sublime than chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Kali Yuga. And this is meant for one and all. It's not meant for any one particular uh, faith or religion. Even though this method of spiritual advancement appears easy to adopt, it was Srila Prabhupada's realization. So this is important here. Yes, the way for deliverance is chanting Hare Krishna. Even though this method of spiritual advancement appears easy to adopt, it was Srila Prabhupada's realization that most people are so caught up in the illusory activities of the modern world that they are not able to directly avail themselves of the opportunity. Just like in Shikshashtakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the second shloka of Shikshashtakam? नाम नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्व शक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमित स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः. The holy name has everything in it, all the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The name is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever you can expect from the Supreme Lord, you can expect from His holy name also. And the holy name is easily available to one and all. To worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are many rules and regulations. But to chant the Lord's names, there is no uh, uh, rules and regulations as far as time or place. You can chant at any place, in any circumstance, whether pure or impure, it doesn't matter. You can chant at all times, and yet you can get the same benefit. But are we able to take shelter of that holy name, which is the boon for everyone in this Kali Yuga? The holy name is there at all, during all ages, but specifically in Kali Yuga we cannot avail of any other way except this chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Still, na anuraga, I don't have a taste to chant the holy names of the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. So that is what is being said here also, that mm, Srila Prabhupada's realization is that most people are so caught up in the illusory activities of the modern world that they are not able to directly avail themselves of the opportunity. Therefore, following in the footsteps of his spiritual predecessors in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya line of disciplic succession, he presented the system of Varnasrama Dharma, also known as Daiva Varnasrama, to pave the way for spiritual progress by creating an environment in which chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in devotional service to the Lord would become easy and satisfying for everyone, even those coming from the lowest and least spiritually inclined segments of the population. So, this Varnasrama Dharma, following Varnasrama Dharma, like everything is just coming in place. Just see Krishna's mercy. We were reading that none of this was planned because we are just systematically in a sequence we are going. Bhagavad Gita, we are reading 18th chapter. And in 18th chapter, Krishna is talking about Kshatriya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, how this is essential because everyone has that swabhava. Everyone is under the influence of the three modes of nature. So there we are reading. And in our Chaitanya Charitamrita reading, we started, we have like well over 300 lectures now in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Systematically, sequentially, we are coming. And now at this time, we are reading about the conversation between Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. And in that also, Ramananda Rai is suggesting that this Varnashrama, following Varnashrama Dharma, that is the goal of life. And on that, we are reading discussion. Hmm? And look at Srimad Bhagavatam when we are reading, we just read recently about the culture, right? We saw how Nanda Maharaj, when he's celebrating Krishna's birth, Srila Prabhupada in purport after purport, he's stressing on Varnashrama Dharma, how we should depend on cows, on land, and this is a natural way of lifestyle, describing the gopis, right? The Brajbasis, they were dependent on cows and on land. And he says this is natural beauty. When you live a natural lifestyle, then people will have that natural beauty. Now, ladies, because of artificial lifestyle, they are not as as beautiful in the sense of their build, their body build, right? It's different now because of artificial lifestyle. So just connect all these dots as we are reading this. So what is being said here is, uh, yeah, that means this Varnashrama, yes, there's no doubt it is on the material platform, but am I on the spiritual platform? Do I have that type of faith in the holy name that I will just day and night simply take full shelter of the holy name because this holy name is my only deliverer? Am I able to do that? If you're able to do that, you don't need nobody. Okay, you may not need because you're doing that. What about the rest of the world? Is this movement, is this Hare Krishna movement only for a few handful of people? No. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prithivite ache jatta nagar adi gram sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam. Also pay attention. Mahaprabhu is saying gram. He is not saying, cities. Grama means villages. That means there is going to be a systematic change. It is going to happen. It's like a whole wave which is going to happen. You're already seeing. If you just open your eyes and see the way things are happening in the world, if you see even news how things are happening, first what is going to happen is there's going to be a destruction. There is going to be a destruction. And in that destruction, all these demons will get killed, and also many, you know, good people and devotees, they will also have to sacrifice their lives. And then, you know, there will be this establishment of Varnashram system, because that is the natural system. The system that is going on now, which is the civilization which is based on petroleum, unless you have that, we cannot have the lifestyle that we are living. And that resource is limited. It's not going to go too long. So, but that natural system is going to come. It is going to happen. So the point here is, this movement is not meant for just one or two people or just a few people. Are you saying that all the people in the world, they're able to just take full shelter, understand the importance of the holy name, that this is a boon, this is a blessing of the Supreme Lord, and you just take full shelter of this holy name day and night? Are you able to do that? Or you think everyone will do that? I will give you an example here that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives. When when a young girl, right, uh, she's when a boy proposes to a girl, right, I want to marry you, does she say yes immediately? Or even if it is an arranged marriage also, if there is a proposal that there is such and such boy, we are thinking of getting you married to that person, does she immediately, as soon as he hears about that person, or as soon as she sees the person's picture without knowing anything about him, does she immediately surrender herself to that boy and say, yes, yes, I will marry him? No, she won't. You know who's saying this? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. What does she do? She will check from every angle. A woman's nature is she needs protection. She needs protection. This is her swabhava. It is swabhava of a person in this woman's body. It is the swabhava to seek protection. So she will check from all angles. Is this man capable of giving me protection from financial perspective, from emotional perspective, social perspective, physical perspective? Is he able to protect me in all these angles? She will check, and she will confirm it by testing in so many ways. Does he really love me? Is he going to stay with me, or after a few days he's just going to leave me and go away? She will check from all, and only when she is completely confirmed, yes, then she will give a green signal, all right. And then she will surrender. Once she surrenders, then she'll surrender to that man as her husband. Similarly, if this is the case with an ordinary conditioned human being, lay woman, right? If you are to support, of course, that is also a conditioned soul. Meaning, when you have to surrender to another conditioned soul, if you are asked, when you meet a devotee for the very first time, and if the devotee tells you, the scripture is telling you that you should surrender your life completely to Krishna, that means 24 by 7 you should simply do direct devotional service, you should only chant his holy names, you don't have to do anything else. Is that person a new person who meets? Is he able to do that? And even when he is in the association of devotees, he's all, inspired, fired up. But can he sustain that? What does experience say? No. As long as he's in the association of devotees, especially in the initial days, he feels very fired up. And then afterwards, it gradually dwindles down. And then if he actually drops his work outside and joins the temple, what will happen after some time? Now he'll start finding some faults, and he'll start fighting, or even he'll become lazy, he'll become bored, and then he'll think, why did I leave? I had a nice career outside, I could have gone to college, and I would have you know gotten a good job, and I would have my own car and my own apartment. Now what am I doing here with these people? He won't be happy. So first of all, he won't surrender. First thing, one or two people may surrender initially, but then because they didn't get that type of firm faith, they'll fall away. So what is required for me to surrender to the Supreme Lord? I need to have that firm conviction. That conviction will only come three things. You need the mercy of a pure devotee. You have to hear from the Bhakti Shastras again and again in the association of devotees. And by hearing, all the doubts which are there in your heart since so many lifetimes. They're all there in the heart, accumulated. You are not even aware of what doubts are there in your heart. They're there deep down. They will start surfacing. And when the doubts come, you have to get those solved, answered through Bhakti Shastras, hearing from pure devotees. When all the doubts are removed, that's when you will become ready. Just like that girl, she will have so many doubts in her heart. Is this man actually going to support me? Is, is he capable of supporting me? She will have so many doubts. When all the doubts are removed, then she will surrender. In the same way, a conditioned soul also, as soon as he hears about Krishna consciousness, it's not that immediately he will become a pure devotee and surrender to Krishna. Nevertheless, he is in good faith. He is inquiring now. So there is that, what you call like a probation period in work, right? So there is that gap, that place there where you are interested, but you are not yet you're not yet ready to fully surrender to Krishna. Surrender means 24 by 7. Your only endeavor is to do devotional service to Krishna. You're not endeavoring to do anything else. You are convinced, as far as my physical maintenance, that will be taken care of by Krishna. If I simply work for him, he will take care of me one way or the other. I don't have to worry about it. And taking care of this body is not even my duty in the first place. That is his body. He'll take care of it. Whatever he wants to do, let him do. Mare Krishna rakhe ke, rakhe Krishna mare ke. If he wants to finish this body, it is his. What can I do? And if he wants to keep this body, he will keep. But what is my responsibility, or what is my, uh, you know, what is my function? What is my role? Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nitya Das. I am just a servant of Krishna. I should simply endeavor. You may not have a taste in the beginning. You may not have a taste to do that, but still you get that conviction. What we need is that firm faith that this is what I have to do. Once you get that conviction, even if you fall away from time to time, again, just like when you learn to ride your bicycle, right? You fall down initially, but just because you fell down once, do you just put the bicycle away? No, you try again and again and again until one day you don't fall down and you are stable and you're going like that. So it doesn't mean that, you will not have fall downs after you become a pure devotee. You may have, initially you can have, but still you can be a pure devotee. If you don't have any doubts in your heart about bhakti, that this is what I have to do, that means naturally you will not have any other goals in life. No other goals. Your only goal is to do direct devotional service. That is not going to happen immediately. What I'm trying to explain to you here is the connection between the Yuga Dharma and Varnashram Dharma. Yuga Dharma is certainly chanting Hare Krishna. It is already said in the scriptures. That is what Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is offering. That is what Srila Prabhupada has come all over the world to give. And all the acaryas before Srila Prabhupada, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu onwards, that is what they've been teaching us. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the Yuga Dharma. This Varnashram Dharma is meant to bring us to that point of chanting Hare Krishna all the time. That's all. Because right now, this, our current system is not allowing me to chant Hare Krishna. It's pulling me in various directions. This system is in the mode of passion and ignorance. It's not allowing me. They're just taking up all. This is called the demonic civilization. They keep you busy so much, working for them to achieve their material goals, taking your precious time in this human form of life, where you could be doing direct devotional service. They're engaging you just for a few pennies, and then, you know, enticing you with so many, you know, offers that, oh, now you will have a big house and you will enjoy life in this way and that way. For this, you work like a donkey now for us, day and night. But Varnashram Dharma will simplify our lifestyle, and it is natural for us. So yeah, I'll just try to explain a little bit of what is said there. Not that I'll start my own class here. Okay. So to pave the way for spiritual progress, this Daiva Varnashram is therefore, following in the footsteps of his spiritual predecessors in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, line of disciplic succession, he presented, who? Srila Prabhupada, presented the system of Varnashram Dharma, also known as Daiva Varnashram, to pave the way for spiritual progress by creating an environment in which chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in devotional service to the Lord would become easy and satisfying for everyone, even those coming from the lowest and least spiritually inclined segments of the population. Srila Prabhupada started farm communities very, very early. As in when he got some land, he started. And what were they living on? He started encouraged them and inspired them in cow protection, keeping their cows, keeping land, growing their own food. Okay, so now continuation. The present volume is intended to be the first of a series presenting Srila Prabhupada's instructions on Varnashrama and rural community development. So this is a series, okay? This is the first one of the series, and each series has a particular topic. So this first series uh, is on Varnashrama and rural community development. The series is planned to be organized as follows. Volume, sorry, Volume 1, Conversations and Lectures. Volume 2, Varnashrama Fundamentals, Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. So what we are reading is Volume 1. So what are we seeing? Conversations and Lectures. Quotes of Srila Prabhupada. This is volume 1. That's what we are going to read. And in volume 2, you will see Varnashrama fundamentals, Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, including discussion of occupational training, land distribution, and taxation. That means how to train Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Volume 3, Vaishyas and Shudras, including discussion of farming, cow protection, economics. Volume 4, Brahmacharis and Grihastas, including discussion of the role of women and children. Volume 5, Vanaprasthas and Sannyasis. Volume 5 will also include a glossary and comprehensive index. So this is how the book is going to, the series of the book are going to be. The editors of this series encourage devotees who may have had personal exchanges and letters from Srila Prabhupada related to these topics to contact us so that we may include that information in our presentation. We want to stress that this volume has been edited to maintain focus on the subject of the book. Scholars doing research may wish to contact the Bhaktivedanta archives for original sources. Many devotees and friends of the devotees have helped bring this presentation of Srila Prabhupada's Varnashram message to fruition. They have provided funding, encouragement, and leads to valuable information in letters, discussions, email messages, and phone conversations. We want to express our thanks to all who have done so much to help us in our work, with special thanks to the following individuals. Ambarish Das has magnanimously provided principal funding for the project. Other benefactors include Bhakti Tirtha Swami, Advaita Chandra Das, Vrajavadhu Devi Dasi, Hare Krishna Dasi's parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Traub, Linda Laura Quent, Wallace Dorian, Douglas Bahnuik, and the late Karen Lee Campbell. Credit also goes to Naveen Krishnadas for helping us with funding matters. We are greatly indebted to all those devotees who have invested so much hard work and love to develop ISKCON's many farm communities over the years. Their dedication is an important inspiration for the present work. The help of several of these devotees deserves special mention. Lagudi Das, the lead oxman from Australia's New Govardhan farm, collaborated on much of the preliminary research of Prabhupada's books. ISKCON's Minister for Cow Protection Agriculture, Balabhadra Das, and his wife Chaya Devi Dasi have been constant and enthusiastic supporters of the project. Vyapak Das, the co-editor of Hare Krishna Rural Life, provided encouragement and leads to important quotes. Our neighbors Bhakta Bob Sweat and his wife Bhaktin Velma have inspired us with their efforts to develop Krishna conscious farming in Maine. We also thank the ISKCON Commission for Social Development. Other devotees and friends have helped give us the perspective that helped us notice important points that Srila Prabhupada makes in his writings and talks, as well as friendship and intellectual critique. Jaya Lalita Devidasi and Vishaka Devidasi gave us many insights on Prabhupada's economic and social thought. June and David Vale provided constant encouragement for this project, as did Paul Sarvis and Gwyneth Jones. Hare Krishna Dasi's professors at Bowdoin College were supportive of her explorative comparisons of Prabhupada's socio-economic perspective with other modern thinkers. Special thanks go to John Fitzgerald, Daniel Rosidis, Robert McIntyre, John Holt, and Jonathan Goldstein for their kindness in this regard. We want to thank the staff at Back to Godhead magazine for their support and for acting as a proving ground for much of this research over the past few years. In particular, our thanks go to Jayadvaita Swami, Nagaraj Das, and Yamaraj Das for their support and guidance. Our publishers, the Bhaktivedanta Archives, provided endless patience and assistance in all the technical matters of producing the book, as well as good humored hospitality and tasty prasadam. In particular, we want to thank Ranajit Das, Dulal Chandra Das, and Eknath Das for their good cheer and valuable support. We have an unrepayable debt to all the devotees who worked to transcribe all Srila Prabhupada's works for the Bhaktivedanta Veda base. Yes, we all use Bhaktivedanta Vedabase. We also thank all the devotees of Prabhupada village in Sandy Ridge, North Carolina for their kindness and support for the project, with a special thanks to Harakanta Devidasi and her family for their generous hospitality to Hare Krishna Dasi during the book's editing sessions. Like this. Okay. We owe a great debt of gratitude to Paramananda Das, ISKCON's first Minister of Agriculture, for the original inspiration to research Prabhupada's instructions on farming and Varnashram. We first heard excerpts from many of the conversations in this volume in his Srimad Bhagavatam classes. We want to thank Sureshwar Das's wife Katyayini Devidasi and their daughter Radhika Chandra Devidasi for their support and encouragement. And we also thank Hare Krishna Dasi's husband Stephen Petrov and their children Maharani Devidasi and Ashtottara Shatadas for years of indispensable patience and sacrifice, loving assistance and enthusiasm for our work in presenting Prabhupada's message. Before concluding this abbreviated list of those who are we are indebted to, in the spirit of Varnashram appreciation, we want to take the opportunity to thank all the engineers and assembly workers of Grundig, Uhar, and Sony companies who worked to create the tape recorders used to record Srila Prabhupada's priceless books and his lectures and conversations, making them all available to us. Without this unknowing devotional service on their part, the world would be much, much poorer. Certainly, this is an example of what we mean by Varnashrama cooperation. Even those who have a very humble occupation can serve the Lord because they provide indispensable help to those who have spiritual knowledge that can benefit the whole human society. Finally, our greatest debt is to our founder, Acharya, and spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada himself, for his great compassion in working to pave the way to make it easy for all of us to go back home, back to Godhead, the editors. Then, about Srila Prabhupada, I'll just read in a minute. I'm just seeing how much there is. And then conventions in this book. Well, we don't need that. And then we'll start with Varnashrama categories. And then there is contents. And we can start with introduction. Okay. So we have some time. We can, if you want, I can stop for any discussion or I can just continue. Just if you have any discussion at any time while I'm reading, just raise your hand and we can discuss. Okay. So, and if there's no hands raised, I'll just continue reading, thinking that you want me to continue reading. Okay. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada appeared in this world on September 1st, 1896 in Calcutta, India. During his childhood, Prabhupada was known as Abhay Charan De. He was the pet child of Gaur Mohan De and his wife Rajani, both pious devotees of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's early life gave him a wealth of experience, which he would draw on in later years while instructing his disciples in both the shortcomings of modern social and economic organization and the ideals of the Daiva Varnashram system created by Krishna. That means from his experience in early childhood, he would instruct on the drawbacks of the modern civilization and the advantages of Daiva Varnashram system to his disciples. Uh, Gaur Mohan was a cloth merchant of moderate income, but he belonged to the aristocratic Suvarna Vanik merchant community. Prabhupada described his family as middle class, noting that there was never any shortage of food, shelter, or clothing for them. Gaur Mohan was an indulgent father, very pampering father, but one who constantly planned for his son to become a great devotee of the Lord. He had a vision for his son, that his son should become a great devotee. Rajini was the example of the ideal, affectionate Bengali mother. She was religious and an excellent cook as well. A pious devotee of the Lord, Gaur Mohan was charitable to numerous sadhus or holy men who lived in Calcutta. But even as a boy, Prabhupada could see that while a few were genuine, most were simply charlatans and cheats, who the sadhus, those who were dressed as sadhus, whom Srila Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan De, would invite every day for taking prasadam, and he would serve them every day. He would have a few sadhus come and take prasad every day. But Prabhupada noted that most of them were not true sadhus. They were just cheaters. Although they claimed spiritual status, they were nothing more than social parasites. That means you wear the dress of a sadhu so that you don't have to work. Because people from Vedic culture, they respect and honor sadhus, right? It is the duty of the grihasthas to maintain sadhus. But the sadhus also should have, what is the goal of sadhu? To make spiritual progress. Therefore, he doesn't have time for material activities. Uh, But if the sadhu is thinking this is an easy way of life, now I don't have to work. If I simply wear the saffron dress without working, I will get whatever I need, then he's a corrupt sadhu. He's not actually a sadhu. He's just wearing the dress of a sadhu. And Srila Prabhupada noted that was the case with most of the sadhus that were being invited to his house. A few of them were genuine. Calcutta was home not only to Hindus but also to many Muslims as well. According to Srila Prabhupada's biographer Satswarup Das Goswami, Hindus and Muslims lived peacefully together in Calcutta. So when the first Muslim Hindu riot broke out, when Abhay was 13 years old, his family understood that it was due to political agitation by the British. That means before that, there was no such, they were living peacefully. But all of a sudden, there was a Hindu Muslim riot. That means the family understood this is because of the government who artificially created that due to political agitation by the British. In later years, Prabhupada emphasized the non sectarian nature of the Krishna consciousness movement, stressing that the important thing was not designations such as Muslim, Hindu, or Christian, but that all people should dedicate their lives to serving the Supreme Lord. In that situation, different religious groups could easily get along with one another. In 1916, Abhay's father encouraged him to enroll at Scottish Churches College, one of two prestigious colleges in Calcutta. There he got along well with the faculty, most of whom were Scottish priests. Like in church, you have, uh, pastors or fathers, you call them, like that. They were the teachers. So he got along well with the faculty, the teachers, most of whom were Scottish priests, and was exposed to the works of many Western writers and thinkers. His college years gave Srila Prabhupada an exceptional background in economics, which he would draw from in later years when explaining the principles of spiritual social organization to his followers. In the classroom, he studied the work of Alfred Marshall, the foremost economist of his day. Marshall was the first to acknowledge the importance of both supply and demand as the determining factors in setting prices for commodities. Marshall had great faith that a self regulating economy, free of government interference, would lead to market equilibrium, a fair distribution of income, and full employment. So, what was Marshall's faith? A self-regulating economy, as Srila Prabhupada would say, self-sufficiency, right? Self-sufficiency. That would, without interference of the government, that will lead to market equilibrium. That means there won't be, you know, uh, hikes in prices and things like that. A fair distribution of income and full employment. Everyone will be engaged. His theories were an important factor contributing to Britain's ongoing industrialization and expansionist trade policies. Outside the classroom, Abhay attended nationalist meetings organized by Subhash Chandra Bose, a senior classmate and future leader in India's independence movement. Here he was exposed to Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy, which presented a social and economic analysis completely opposite of what had been presented in the classroom. Acha, acha, wait a minute. Marshall had great faith that a self regulating economy. So we're not really talking about self sufficiency here. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Marshall had great faith that a self regulating economy free of government interference would lead to market equilibrium. Actually, this is true. Huh? Fair income and full employment. This is what I said, that's what it is. That if you have a self regulating economy, then you will become, everyone is fully employed. So, his theories were an important factor contributing to Britain's ongoing industrialization, expansionist trade policies. Means what did they do? They destroyed this self regulating economy in India. You understand? People were self sufficient. They were self sufficient. What did the British do? So, Marshall's principles, economic principles, showed that if you have a self regulated economy, people are self sufficient. There is no imbalance in market equilibrium. So, what did they do? They removed that self sufficiency and made the people dependent. So, they didn't allow, they discouraged people from making their own cloth, from producing their own, especially the commercial crops. They would take all the raw material, they will make them produce here, but they will take all the raw material from here and send the uh, finished goods to India and sell them at higher prices to people. So they took away that self-regulated economy. So that's why it is said that the British economy depended on the principles of Marshall. His theories were an important factor contributing to Britain's ongoing industrialization and expansionist trade policies. Outside the classroom, Abhay attended nationalist meetings organized by Subhash Chandra Bose, a senior classmate and future leader in India's independence movement. Here he was exposed to Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy, which presented a social and economic analysis completely opposite of what had been presented in the classroom. Like many other Bengalis, Abhay was attracted by the spiritual overtones of the Swaraj or self rule movement. Gandhi lived simply like a sadhu and seemed to have more integrity than many of the sadhus that Abhay had met. He constantly cited the Bhagavad Gita and its emphasis on work as a way to spiritual realization. So we're reading Srila Prabhupada's life. So now, although he's studying in college under these British or Scottish professors, simultaneously he's also associating with the freedom fighter leaders in India, Gandhi and the others. Contrary to Marshall's theories, Gandhi taught that industrialization and large-scale international trade had led to unparalleled riches and indulgence for the upper classes and impoverishment and unemployment for the lower classes. Instead of industrialism and international trade, Gandhi advocated simple living and village self-sufficiency or Swadeshi. The symbol of Gandhi's movement was the charkha or spinning wheel. Abhay joined the supporters of the nationalist movement, casting off his British mill cloth to wear homespun khadi. So, Srila Prabhupada was convinced by Gandhi's philosophy as far as simple living. I'm still trying to understand here when they said self-regulating economy, right? And his theories. So his theories were an important factor. So the other theories which are not mentioned here, it must be, right? Because his theories actually contributed to industrialization and expansionist trade policies, it is being said. Self-regulating economy free of government interference would lead to market equilibrium, a fair distribution of income and full employment. Acha. So that means uh, when they become the leader, then there will be a fair distribution of income, right? Like communist type of idea, I guess that's what it is saying. They were promoting industrialization uh, in the form on the basis of they are promoting he's promoting industrialization on the basis of equal distribution of income. If there is industrialization, there is equal opportunity and everyone will get equal distribution of income and there will be full employment for everyone, like that. Okay, that is why here it is said that Srila Prabhupada saw something different when he met with the freedom of Gandhi's philosophy. It was different. It was different from what he was studying in classroom. What was Gandhi preaching? Self-sufficiency, self-rule movement, right? Not that give it all to the government and the government is going to distribute it equally to everyone, not like that, but Swaraj or self-rule movement. You don't depend on this foreign government. You rule your own thing. And also, he said, he constantly cited from Bhagavad Gita. Gandhi taught that industrialization and large-scale international trade had led to unparalleled riches and indulgence for the upper classes only. So the rich were becoming richer and the poor were becoming poorer. Still happening. The same thing is still happening. Abhay joined the supporters of the nationalist movement, casting off his British mill cloth to wear homespun khadi. Ultimately, Abhay was satisfied with neither Marshall nor Gandhi. The bottom line is, unless there is unless spiritual progress is in the center, how many ever material plans you make, they are not going to work. So ultimately, Abhay was satisfied neither with Marshall nor Gandhi. His strongest drive was not economic or political, but spiritual. And even Gandhi could not fulfill his desires for a spiritually oriented society. For him, both the capitalist and the nationalist philosophies had shortcomings. Nevertheless, he did not completely reject the teachings of either thinker, but retained the concepts that had practical application for spiritual goals. Yes, this is the beauty, right? He didn't reject them both completely, but he took good from both. Whatever is good, he took, and whatever was not pro, he just rejected. Like a honeybee, right? Honeybee goes even to a garbage pile And if there is a flower near the garbage pile, it will just go to that flower, take nectar, and go away, not paying attention to all the garbage. So it's not that he became an ardent follower of either one, but whatever good was there, he took from them. He retained the concepts that had practical application for spiritual goals. In later life, Srila Prabhupada would refer to Marshall's concepts. Economic impetus begins from family affection. The formula for successful business enterprise consists of land, labor, capital, and organization. He praised Gandhi's ideals of self sufficiency and village organization. So he took those that were, uh, practical and could be used, he took those. But in his college years, something was still missing. So later on, he used these when he was a preacher. But while he was studying, he was still feeling something missing. That person who could provide the spiritual leadership he was searching for. Finally, in 1922, Abhay met his spiritual master Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in Calcutta. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, a prominent religious scholar and the founder of 64 Gaudiya Mathas, Vedic institutes, uh, liked this educated young man and convinced him to dedicate his life to teaching Vedic knowledge. Abhay became his student, and 11 years later, so when did Prabhupada first meet his Guru Maharaj? 1922. And in 1933, 11 years later, at Allahabad, he became his formally initiated disciple. At their first meeting in 1922, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur requested Abhay to broadcast Vedic knowledge through the English language. On their first meeting, this was the instruction given. Go and preach the Vedic knowledge in English language and in the English speaking land, right? Go to those countries and preach. Although Abhay was by now a married man and held a position as an agent for an Indian pharmaceutical company, he nevertheless committed himself to fulfilling the desires of his spiritual master. In the years that followed meeting his guru, Srila Prabhupada wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, assisted the Gaudiya Math in its work, and in 1944, that means another 11 years passed. In 1944, started Back to Godhead, an English fortnightly magazine. Maintaining and publication was a struggle. Single handedly, Srila Prabhupada edited it, typed the manuscripts, checked the gallery proofs, and even distributed the individual copies. One man show, he did everything. He wrote the articles, he edited it, he proofread it, he got it published, and he only went and distributed it. The magazine is now being continued by his disciples in the West and is published in over 30 languages. Recognizing Srila Prabhupada's philosophical learning and devotion, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Society honored him in 1947 with the title Bhakti Vedanta, 1947. In 1950, at the age of 54, Srila Prabhupada retired from married life. 1950, he retired, adopting the Vanaprastha order to devote more time to his studies and writing. Srila Prabhupada traveled to the holy city of Vrindavan, where he lived in very humble circumstances in the historic medieval temple of Radha Damodar. There he engaged for several years in deep study and writing. He accepted the renounced order of life sannyas in 1959. At Radha Damodar, Srila Prabhupada began working on his life's masterpiece, a multi-volume annotated translation of the 18,000 verse Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Purana. He also wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets. Okay, so there at Radha Damodar temple, Srila Prabhupada started writing Srimad Bhagavatam and also Easy Journey to Other Planets. After publishing 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada came to the United States in September of 1965. 1965. So 15 years after he gave up family life, Srila Prabhupada came to America to fulfill the mission of his spiritual master. Subsequently, His Divine Grace wrote more than 60 volumes of authoritative annotated translations and summary studies of the philosophical and religious classics of India. When he first arrived by freighter in New York City, Srila Prabhupada was practically penniless. Only after almost a year of great difficulty did he establish the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in July of 1966 before his passing away on November 14, 1977. Again, another 11 years. You're noticing the 11 years? After he first met, 11 years later, Srila Prabhupada got initiated. Then 11 years from his initiation in 1944, Srila Prabhupada actually started his first Back to Godhead magazine in English, fortnightly magazine. I don't know what happened in 55. When did Srila Prabhupada take sannyas? I think in 54, I think. But yeah. But then in 1966, Srila Prabhupada incorporated. So we should find out what happened in 55. Then that will be completed. And in 1966, he incorporated ISKCON. And in 1977, another 11 years later, Srila Prabhupada disappeared. Before his passing away on November 14, 1977, he guided the society and saw it grow to a worldwide confederation of more than 100 ashramas, schools, temples, institutes, and farm communities. Srila Prabhupada's most significant contribution, however, is his books, highly respected by the academic community for their authority, depth, and clarity. They are used as standard textbooks in numerous college courses. His writings have been translated into over 50 languages. The Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, established in 1972 to publish the works of His Divine Grace, has thus become the world's largest publisher of books in the field of Indian religion and philosophy. In just 12 years, in spite of his advanced age, Srila Prabhupada circled the globe 14 times on lecture tours that took him to 6 continents. In spite of such a vigorous schedule, Srila Prabhupada continued to write prolifically. His writings constitute a veritable library of Vedic philosophy, religion, literature, and culture. In 1977, the year Srila Prabhupada passed away, ISKCON listed the following 13 farm communities in Back to Godhead magazine. So these are the various farm communities: Mayapur, India; Hyderabad, India; then Indre, France; London, England; San Pedro, Costa Rica; Petropolis, Brazil; Murwillumbah, Australia; US farm communities: Buffalo, New York, Carrier, Mississippi. Then we have New Talwan. Okay, so I'll just read the names. I'll just read the names. Okay, there's Mayapur, Hare Krishna land in Hyderabad, New Mayapur in France, Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, New Vraja in Costa Rica, San Pedro. Then you have, yeah, in Brazil we don't have name. Then New Govardhan in Australia, New Talavan in Mississippi, New Godruma in Missouri, Dixon, and then we have New Vrindavan in Moundsville, West Virginia, Murari Sevak in Tennessee, and Gita Nagari. Formerly, it was called New Varshana, Gita Nagari in, Pennsylvania, our neighbor. As this volume goes to press in 1999. So when was this volume published? 1999. So it's like, 25 years ago, this book was published. Back to Godhead magazine lists 46 rural ISKCON communities in 29 countries. Additional devotee communities which are not yet officially affiliated with ISKCON are also being developed. Yes, especially in India, several farm communities have come up. For scholarly consistency, the conversations in this volume are listed as they are in previous Bhaktivedanta archives publications, according to the nearest large city. Thus, Gita Nagari is listed as Philadelphia, New Talavan is listed as New Orleans, New Mayapur is listed as Paris, and so on. Okay, so that was our Srila Prabhupada. Pronunciations we don't have to read. So we can start. Huh? No, we are reading the book called uh, Speaking About Varnasrama Dharma, Prabhupada quotes. This is all the initial. We read the preface, then about the author we read just now, Srila Prabhupada. Now, Varnashrama categories. Although the term caste and jati are sometimes used to indicate varna, so when you say varna, what does it mean? Caste or jati. Although it can mean caste or jati, these terms are not completely interchangeable with the term varna. Jati is not just varna, or varna is not just jati. Jati means literally birth. So varna is not determined by birth. In terms of the caste system, jati is commonly used to refer to a social group in which an individual's membership is determined by birth, isn't it? When you call someone by a particular jati, it's based on birth. Srila Prabhupada usually makes a distinction between a class in such a hereditary caste system and a varna in the varnashram system, in which social role is determined by one's nature and work rather than by birth. Though occasionally he does use the term caste to mean varna. So you can say caste for varna, but caste not as you understand in society. Because in society, when you say caste, it is by birth. But actually, caste or varna is by your quality. That should be noted. Moreover, the term jati can be much broader than the term varna. Jati can be used to refer to birth in any type of family, such as physician, goldsmith, merchant, etc. Thus, although there are only four varnas, there may be hundreds of different jatis. Jati can even be used in the sense of group or species, as in the male jati or animal jati. In the context of social organization, Srila Prabhupada reserves the use of the word varna to refer to one of four occupational categories. Varna means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. That is varnas. Not everything is varna. You cannot say animal varna and human varna, women varna. No, no. Varna means only these. Because Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Four varnas. Chatur varnam maya system. There are only four varnas: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Thus, Varnashram Dharma refers to the division of human society into four occupational groups or varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and four spiritual groups or ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states, 4:13, Krishna states that he has created the Varnashrama system, although he himself is transcendental to it. The categories of the Varnas are as follows. Brahmanas means teachers and spiritual leaders. Kshatriyas, military personnel and government administrators. Vaishyas, farmers and business people. Shudras, laborers, artists and craftspersons. The ashramas represent the different possible phases of life: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Brahmacharya means student phase, Grihastha householder phase, Vanaprastha retired phase, Sannyasa phase of complete renunciation for the purpose of spiritual progress. So, with that, we complete uh, all the introductory materials. We can also go over the contents so you know what is coming up. So, we finished preface, we finished biographical sketch, listing of historical farm communities, conventions used in this volume, pronunciation, all this we finished. Now what is remaining is introduction. So in context, you're just seeing Srila Prabhupada, so you'll see what Srila Prabhupada said, right? On July 16, 1968, about the topic will be mutual respect in Varnashrama, like that. So we will start reading. So the first topic is introduction, page 1, and then like this we will just keep reading. Okay, so there are various subjects. I can just go over what the subjects are. There's mutual respect in Varnashrama, different duties for different kinds of people, spiritual communism, get all your necessities from the land, false wealth or real wealth, Varnashrama walk, Varnashrama to save a troubled world, Varnashrama walk, working is also preaching, Varnashrama college, Varnashrama walk, chant Hare Krishna and draw a plow. Guru gives Varna guidance, grow your own food, petroleum versus ox power, Eskimo self-sufficiency, how Eskimos can be self-sufficient. Every man should own some land, food grains or factories, food grains or factories, harnessing natural inclination, how to utilize the bulls, machines and unemployment, self-sufficiency or commercial production, illusory progress. They will be attracted by our training power. Krishna consciousness, the peaceful revolution. Good government means good training. Agriculture, the noblest profession. Plain living, high thinking. You can just take any one of these topics and you can just do your research on that. Plain living, high thinking. Ugra karma in the factory. Vedic civilization is training. Simple living, good health. Living as Krishna lived. Prabhupada on cow care. Homegrown is best, not by birth but by training. Brahmana guidance for Kshatriyas. Brahmana guidance for Kshatriyas. Varnashram is not the caste system. Localized economics. Artificial banking systems. Varnashram system must be introduced. Four Varnas to solve four problems. From the cities to the villages, made with our own wool. I wanted to introduce this. No success without Varnashram. Why is Varnashram important? A Varnashrama mission, village organization. And these ideas are actually, we will find, Srila Prabhupada took his ideas from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In their magazines, in their writings, you will see Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the first revolutionary who fought against the existing caste system which was so prevalent at that time. He was the one, he said, how the society should be divided based on Varnashrama system. Daiva Varnashram, the word was coined by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, we have a few more minutes. If you have, do you want to, have any questions or any discussions? If not, then we'll just continue reading a little bit more. Okay. Introduction. 5,000 years ago in the forest of Naimisharanya, Suta Goswami addressed an assembly of sages and informed them. The occupational activities a man performs according to his position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is something ringing in your head? We read this just yesterday in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, this was quoted because Ramananda Rai quoted when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Eho bahya aage kaho ar. When Ramananda Rai said doing Varnashrama duties, then offering, right? Karmarpanam. Ramananda Rai next said Karmarpanam to Krishna and he quoted Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat. So there in the purport Srila Prabhupada explained that occupation, quoted this verse, this specific verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. The occupational duties, that means Varnashrama duties that one performs, if that by doing that duty, if your attraction for hearing about the Supreme Lord is not awakened, then such duties of Varnashrama Dharma are nothing but useless labor. Our work is meaningless if it does not lead to love of Godhead. That is why this Varnashrama is called Daiva Varnashram. Because by following this Varnashram, you are supposed to develop love of Godhead. We are not promoting Varnashram for the sake of practicing Varnashram that now you identify yourself. No. Nobody is saying that you should identify yourself as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. It's not about identifying yourself. It's about being engaged in a particular occupation. You're doing anything anyway, but do something which is prescribed by Shastra. And there also you have a certain nature, do according to your nature. Not, but nobody is saying you identify yourself. Now I'm a Brahmana, I'm a Kshatriya. No, don't identify. You should come to the identification that I'm a servant of the Supreme Lord. But now because I didn't get full faith, therefore I have to do something with this body, right? Because I don't have full faith. If I had full faith with this body also, I will only do Shravanam Kirtanam. but I don't have full faith. I'm doing some karma. So instead of doing some vikarma, let me do that which is prescribed by the Vedas, which will simplify my lifestyle, which will make me come into the mode of goodness, where I can actually develop my faith, and that way begin pure devotional service. So our work, that means this Varnasrama Dharma, is meaningless if it does not lead to love of God. There is no point in doing it. So you have to be very careful about this. We are not saying fanatically that you should only do varnashram, varnashram, and that is the goal of life. No, Mahaprabhu already said, Eho Bahya. It's not simply about, oh, I'm a Brahman, I'm a Kshatriya, and that's the end. No, no. It is just, it's a means to bring us to the stage of pure devotional service. It's just like when you have to climb, to go to an elevated place. If you had a ladder, step by step, it is easy to climb. There is a wall, let's say, you have to get on top of the wall. You cannot get on top of it directly. You're not able to. Not everyone is able to do that. Maybe some people are able to do, but not everyone can do that. The general practice is, if you have steps, then you can climb up. So this Varnashrama is acting like a bridge. It is acting like a ladder. It will help you climb to that platform of pure devotional service. That's all. Not that I'm just happy sitting on this ladder eternally. This is now my goal. No. So there also you have to be careful. It's not about simply identifying yourself. I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, you are an untouchable, you are a Harijan. No, no, that's not what is being. Some people did that, right? Seeing that, so both we had the Brahmanas, so called Brahmanas, by birth claiming to be Brahmanas, they said that we are the chosen ones, right? So they wouldn't teach the Vedas that they are studying, they would not teach the other people in society. Because the Vedas are telling us the goal of life is to surrender to the Supreme Lord. They didn't teach that. Rather, they say that the Vedas say that the Brahmanas are they're like next to God. You worship us. And so they actually uh, abused their position. They deprived the general society from the Vedic knowledge. They exploited the lower castes, Varnas. So as a result of that, now those people rebelled against them and they said, we reject your Varnashram system, we reject your Brahmanas, we don't need these Vedas, and now we are here. So, yeah, so we don't want to go there again, that, oh, it's all about just Varnashram system, and then that will become more and more perverted. So our goal is not to just be known as, Brahman, Kshatriya. That's not our goal. Our goal should be, we should be very clear. That is why it is Daiva Varnashram. The goal is to come to love of Godhead only. But this is the way to bring us there. There is no point in doing it. But the average person must spend most of his or her life working. You're working anyway, just to secure a livelihood. In such a circumstance, what hope is there for spiritual advancement? So, if you're working under demonic people or godless people, so what are the chances of making spiritual advancement? You spend 9 hours, you're supposed to work. Actually, you should take 10 hours, because 1 hour lunch break you get, that is also you're away, isn't it? So 10 hours you're there in your work, in that association, and then additional you can take 1 or 2 hours for commuting, going and coming back, and all that. So what is remaining in the day? In the night you sleep for, people say in the outside world you should have at least 8 hours of sleep, they say. You sleep for 8 hours, and for 10 hours you're working, 18 hours are gone, and in between you have to do your cooking and all those other things. You have to eat also. Go and shop and get your groceries and finished. Where do you have time? So this is the current lifestyle, working. Okay. So our The average person must spend most of his life working just to secure a livelihood. In such a circumstance, what hope is there for spiritual advancement? That question lies at the core of the Bhagavad Gita, where we see Arjun proposing to give up his position as a great warrior to adopt the renounced life of a beggar. Right? So Arjun is saying, I'll give up this work that I'm doing and I will take to the renounced order of life. Don't do it, advises Krishna. Spiritual perfection lies not in renouncing work, but in performing your work as an offering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this is the art of work. You don't have to give up the work, you just have to change, change the quality of work. Do that work as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Do the work which is suitable to your nature. So, this is what we are talking about. When we say Varnashrama, we are saying do the work which is suitable to your nature and perform it as an offering unto me. This is directly Krishna's instruction in the 18th chapter. We see you do work which is suitable to your nature, and then after doing that, you offer the result to me. Don't keep it. That is the way to spiritual perfection. If you do your work as an offering of love for me, then surely you will come to me at the end of life. Varnashrama is meant to provide the framework in which people of all different personality types and at different phases of life can perform their work. People of all different personality types. So Varnashrama includes everyone, all different personalities, and at different phases of life. That means brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, young, middle age, old people, everyone. Varnashrama can accommodate all types of people at different ages with different swabhavas. Everyone can be accommodated in Varnashrama system. They can perform their work as an offering to the Lord. Sometimes we think that Varnashrama means a Brahmana studying scriptures, a Kshatriya fighting battles, a Vaishya maintaining a shop, and a Shudra practicing carpentry. The Brahmachari attends classes, the Grihastha maintains a household, the Vanaprastha visits holy places, and the sannyasi lives simply in a hut and preaches. But Varnashrama is more than that. It is a system which guides the relationships between the different varnas and ashrams. So it's not just about what duties each varna or ashram is doing, but also how they are interacting with each other. People from different varnas and different ashrams, what type of relationships they have. This varnashram system guides the relationships between the different varnas. They're all interdependent. Society means just like in this body, there is hands, there is legs, there is stomach, there is head. Each one has its particular duty. But are they completely independent of the others? No. One is dependent on the other. There's interdependence. So, Varnashrama system is a system which guides the relationships between the different Varnas and ashrams so that the different groups work cooperatively for the spiritual advancement of the whole society. Just because we have four Varnas and four ashrams does not mean we have Varnashrama. Right? Simply if you have Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, that doesn't mean we have Varnashrama. The key to Varnashrama is the relationships of mutual support between the different groups. Okay? The key to Varnashrama is the relationships of mutual support between the different groups. We can make a comparison between Varnashrama and marriage. So, through the system institution of marriage, you can try to understand Varnashrama. The marriage unit consists of a man and woman. But simply the fact that we have a man and woman does not mean we have a marriage. There must be a socially recognized relationship between the man and woman. And each partner should perform activities in support of the other to create a cooperative, mutually supportive relationship. This is what a marriage is meant to be. Similarly, in Varnashrama, the members of each Varna and Ashram have specific roles to play to support the other groups in society and to promote a cooperative, mutually supportive relationship. Each group must help the other groups not only to provide the practical necessities of life and a wholesome sense of community, but even more importantly, to facilitate the whole society's worship of the Supreme Lord. So we can stop there today. We will continue reading tomorrow. So I will try to jot down a few points, highlights of what we read today in the description box, so that when we read tomorrow, we will, because after all, we have these Kali Yuga brains which are forgetful. So we may forget. At least I do. So therefore, after reading, things are fresh in mind. So whatever I'm able to recollect, I will try to just jot down a few points, and then we will continue reading tomorrow. So we will do this every Saturday and Sunday, and the recordings will be there. If at any point, anyone wants to go back and hear, that will be there. Thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Vanchakal.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
you so much,
Thank you.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo